Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? This is Taff. This is the County Choir, or the Amber Army now. It's going to take me a while to get used to that. Amber Army YouTube channel, and this is my review of the season. I've done a couple of videos this week already, obviously the weekly word and a bit about the retained list. I wanted to do all three on the same night, but the retained list I went on a bit, didn't I? So yeah, I couldn't be bothered doing a third one. But it sets me up because I've had time to think about what I want to say about this. This is going to be my season review, and bear with me, I may go on a little bit again, but I'm basically going to go from the very beginning, really, to the point where Jimmy Dack decided he didn't want to be at the club as the manager. Terry Butcher came in, and then his regime, and this god-awful season began. Well, we saw a lot of players who we've grown to love and respect move on. That was obviously a shame to see them go. But, as football is, players come and go. And, especially at our level, I'm surprised some of them stayed for as long as they did. And there were a few people, in the end, not so much that we were glad to see the back of, but, it's like, well, we felt they served us as much as they can, and it's time for them to go and finish their career somewhere where they could be more use, if you want to put it nicely. We obviously signed up some players. There was a bit of promise amongst some of them, some young, players from, higher divisions, some of the better players from last season from the conference. We thought, maybe Butcher's put together something of a decent team here. So, really, I try to be as optimistic as I could. I may have appeared optimistic to everybody. Oh, I got a good feeling about this with Butcher. I think Butcher, he knows his stuff. He's been there at the highest level. I think he knows his stuff. He'll be all right. He'll do well for us. But really, there was something sticking in my mind all the time. And you'll find with me, I'm good at putting on a brave face. There was just something that didn't feel quite right for me the whole time. And I was right, to have that bit of a gut feeling that something obviously wasn't right. We came to our first game of the season, and to be honest with you, I think a lot of you are going to be quite surprised with some of the things I'm going to say in this review now. So, let's just see how it goes and see what you think. Basically, see if you agree with me. I'm not going to do it completely on a game-by-game basis. I'm pretty much going to do it on a monthly basis. So we're going to start with the month of August. Yeah, it's already taken me nearly 3 minutes just to get to the first month, but bear with me though, guys. We started off the season at Cambridge, who had a big one last year, obviously playing Man United, home and away. We expected them to be a good team because obviously with the amount of money they made, they had a bit of money to put into their budget, so we went down 3-0, and I didn't feel as though we deserved to lose that one 3-0. Although our defending was really poor, and obviously Mediolito's absolutely shit penalty summed up our attacking threat that we possessed that day, and that pretty much went into the rest of the month, to be honest. But there were some good signs in August. We took the lead at Wolves and held our own in the League Cup. We went down 2-1. Obviously, quality saw through at the end of the day, but on another day, we could have won that game. So, we were feeling quite optimistic at this point. And then Stevenage came in. We were losing 1-0, then we turned it round and we were winning. And then, what happened then? We ended up conceding in the last minute. As you go. I'm not going to name any names, but a very close supporter of the club turned around and said to me, I'll tell you what, we're really unlucky today. We keep playing like that, we're going to be fine. Don't you worry about us, we're okay this season. And to be honest with you, I convinced myself that maybe he was right, and wrong too again. Hartlepool. I didn't go to this game, but apparently we were by far the better team and didn't deserve to lose the game at all. Yeah, we've been there many a time. And unfortunately we did lose the game, coming into the Leyton Orient game where we were 2-0 down, came back to 2-2, and they scored, and we ended up losing 3-2. Then we went down to Plymouth, and they were running away with things there. We were expected to get our asses handed to us. We only lost that one 1-0. Basically, it got to the point where only losing 1-0 was actually seen as good in a roundabout way. As we were walking out, there was a group of Plymouth fans pointing to us and then shouting to us, "You're going down, you're going down." It's like, come on, we're in August, you know. All sorts of stuff can happen from now till August. And obviously we crashed out into September then, and we crashed out of our second cup game. We played against Swindon, we drew 1-1 and lost on penalties, really unluckily. Now I think I was one. I think I wouldn't say I was one of our better performances under Butcher. I think Swindon had a bad season themselves, so they weren't exactly impressive. But I know we played better than we did the year before against them. But then obviously they still beat us again. So we look forward to a third year in a row maybe, and maybe third time lucky. But what's the chance of that happening, eh? Now, for me, one of the worst games of our season. We lost 3-0 against York, and that was when the crowd started really turning on Butcher then. Losing 3-0 to an eventual relegated team, that's completely unforgivable, really, isn't it? But he kept his job for the time being, and by this point we'd had only 1 point in the league. We played against our big bogey team Morecambe at home and went down to a last minute penalty, which in my opinion was soft. As always, Kevin Ellison, the one who was giving us grief as always, until we went to Dagenham, who were in pretty much the same situation as us, and Yeovil were at the same time as well. And we thought if we were going to get our win, it's going to have to be here, because we're not going to get nothing against Carlisle, because they had a great start. We got a 0-0 draw. There wasn't really any chances. I think Josh Laurent had a good chance in that game and was unlucky. But 0-0, crap game. Just crap, basically. Just all round crap. But me and my girlfriend's family got to go on the Football League show at the end of that. And yeah, that wasn't embarrassing when all the other clubs, oh, look, Newport, you're doing shit. You haven't even won a game yet. Oh, well, fuck you. You know. Funny enough, the week after we did. We beat Carlisle 1-0. I was there for that as well. And I think it was an own goal that won it for us. And Carlisle missed a bunch of sitters. It was just one of those days where luck was on our side. But it wasn't always to be that way for the rest of the season, though. Because next game was the big deadline. The big supporters takeover deadline against Crawley. We just won. We were in a position where it was a 6-pointer. Now, you don't usually refer to a game as a 6-pointer, as early as September. But when you're playing against a team like Crawley, especially when your old assistant / manager comes back in Jimmy Dack, you want a spirited performance. You want to kick on. We just won our first game. Let's kick on. Let's get another win, because this is a very winnable game. Even though the fans had all turned up in their drones to give their money to the football club, our players turned out a 3-0 fucking loss again. And we'd been losing all our games at home. We had 1 point at home, 1 point away. Oh, obviously, we beat Carlisle, so 4 points away. But then, we still wanted a home win. It takes us into October. Terry Butcher loses his job. And 10 games, people are like, people outside of our football club are like, oh, you can't sack a manager after 10 games. It's like, well, did you see the 10 games that he had in charge of us? It was dog shit. And it proved, obviously, when John Sheridan came in, that those players could play. It's just Terry Butcher was crap, and it's as simple as that. Newport won, Exeter won. First game of John Sheridan's time with us. And what happened there? It was our first game as a supporters-owned club, and the only thing we won on the day was the shootout. I think we won the shootout, didn't we? I think we did. Yeah, I know. Our drummer Fat Robbie scored a belter. 1-1 against Exeter, another point on the board. We were, not completely, out of sight, from the other clubs at that point. I think Yeovil and Dagenham were having a bad time of it by that point. I think a bit of Butcher-esque was still lingering when we lost 3-0 to Mansfield. Mansfield absolutely destroyed us. I thought they were going to go up this year on the back of that performance, but they obviously fell away. And it's like, oh, come on, we need something here. We really do need something. Portsmouth. We do well against Portsmouth. We didn't do well against Portsmouth in this game because they were dog shit. They were crap, but we were obviously worse. So we lost 1-0. And this is where everyone's thinking, we're going to go down, and we are going to go down. Not even John Sheridan can save us now. 3 games in, 1 point. You hope that a manager who's going to save some from relegation hits the ground running. He's going to have to do something really, really big now to pull us out of this dog shit we got ourselves into. You know, Star Spangled Eyes. You know, oh my God, Terry Butcher. Oh my God, we're gonna get relegated now. Well done. Well, thankfully things turned after that. We went to Wickham, which is a ground we tend to enjoy. We won 2-0. Happy days. Then on to Bristol Rovers. Oh no, we're going to get our asses handed to us. Bristol Rovers had a decent start. We'd obviously had a crap start. We got a win against Wickham, but we always win there. You know, who's to say we're going to go to Bristol Rovers and win? One of the best days out I've had as a county fan. Obviously, the before and after, you know, sort of spoilt it, so it's not a great memory. But at the time I was enjoying it. We won 4-1. Our closest rivals in the division of the season, and we win 4-1 at their ground. Back-to-back wins for the first time of the season, and you know, really looking like we're pulling ourselves away from it. I don't know at that point if we pulled ourselves out of relegation, but we were definitely, you know, back up into the mix because we were falling away. We were a couple of wins away from pulling ourselves out of it. We went down 2-0 to Northampton the last game of October, and we came back to draw 2-2. Now, John Sheridan was looking like something of a friggin' saviour now, because, you know, we were starting to get points. You know, we'd gone 3 games unbeaten, which then turned into, let me just count up there, we were unbeaten in all competitions until we ended up playing Notts County in December, considering, you know, the first of those games was in the middle of October. So we went on a really, really good run. I think this is the run that ultimately saved us from relegation. I know the Feeney run towards the end of the season was big, but at the end of the day, this is the one. Obviously, there's some FA Cup games in amongst this. We drew 2-2 at Brackley, went down to a last-minute goal. It didn't matter. We won the replay 4-1 and brought in some extra money from having the extra game. Happy days. The biggest result of that month, bar one, we'll come to that one, but drawing 2-2 at Accrington, even though we had the lead, I think we had the lead twice in that game, or was it once? I know we had the lead at one point, but you know, to draw 2-2 against a team who should have gone up on their patch when they've been winning all their games at home was really, really good, obviously, you know. Like I said, we beat Brackley 4-1. Somehow we only drew 0-0 with Yeovil. I mean, that was when they were crap. They came to us and they were crap, and we just don't know why we just had no shooting boots on that day. We went to Oxford expecting to get our asses handed to us. Goal of the season, in my opinion, from Lionel John Lewis. Put us 1 up. The inevitable happened and they equalised, but they just couldn't find the winner, and that was a very good point in the end for us. Then on to our first home win of the season, and an Oliver McBurney hat-trick as we won 3-0. And I gotta be fair, right? Talk about, you know, your come and go heroes. I mean, what a hero for scoring a hat-trick on his debut for us, but then, you know, a couple of games later, Swansea took him back. They took him back because they needed him for the first team. Didn't play him once. Then when we asked for him back, they said no, we still need him just in case. He ends up at Bristol Rovers. Cheers, Swansea. Never really given us anyone decent except for him anyway, and you know, he was only decent for us for 1 game, so, you know, I mean, look at the players they sent to us on loan last year, all garbage, all playing in the Welsh League now, or not even playing for anyone. So, you know, the only team, it kills me to say, whoever sends us a good player on loan is Cardiff these days, you know. But yeah, getting back into the results, we won at Barnet in the Cup second round, first time in the third round for like 30 years. Cracking, what a day out that was as well. One of the best away atmospheres I've ever felt, you know, for such a, well, it wasn't such a small crowd, about 400 of us, but, you know, we were loud that day. We lost 4-3 at Notts County somehow. I didn't go to that game, I had to work, unfortunately, is when I couldn't get out of. Usually I can swap my shifts on a Saturday. This is when I just couldn't get out of. I think it was one of those, you know, I swapped so I could go to somewhere else for this one, but it didn't really matter anyway, you know. I mean, you know, we lost the game, so I did, you know, but like I say, somehow we lost, you know, what everyone there saying, you know, we were the best team throughout the whole game. How we lost 4-3 is beyond me. 2-2 at home to Wimbledon. Now, I don't remember the way this was scored, but I know we were unlucky. We were unlucky not to win that game. Going on to Barnet now. Now, I mentioned the dodgy penalty against Morecambe. Now, bad refereeing decisions started becoming something of a regularity at this point. Medialito, I remember this one really well because I went absolutely berserk when I was there. It was 0-0 at the time, and we were looking like the better team. It was like a carbon copy of the FA Cup game, and we were easily the better team. We should have won by more than 1-0 that day. But then we were playing there, and it was exactly the same, just waiting for us to get that goal, and it would have been another 1-0 probably. Medialito gets himself sent off. Well, he doesn't get himself sent off. The referee decided he didn't like him for some reason. When he gets pushed over and a player trips himself up over his legs as he's tumbling, for some reason that's a penalty and a red card. Just completely killed our game off, 100% dead. That was on Boxing Day as well. Merry Christmas, you Welsh bastards. Yeah, cheers, ref. 2-0 we lost that game. Absolutely no way we deserved that. Plymouth beat us 2-1. They outclassed us. Simple. And then moving into 2016, and we thought, right, this is where we're going to really push on. And what a great start. We won at York, and that's when York started falling. And they really started falling at that point. We won 1-0 there. Aaron Collins, obviously, that's what sealed him his move to Wolves, I think. I think people were looking at him. I know some bids went in for him at the beginning of the season, but I think that's what made us the money for him. That goal that won that game. And that's the big 6-pointer that really pulled us out and left York and Dagenham down there, because I know Yeovil started kicking on from here then as well. FA Cup third round, the eventual game when it actually got played on a Monday night. I'm quite certain that this was Warren Feeney's first game. If not that, it was the York one. The whole Costa-gate scenario with John Sheridan all of a sudden turning up in Oldham on a Tuesday. I remember this was on a Tuesday night actually. Yeah. Oh God. I think I remember that being. Oh, I can't even think now. I think it was a Tuesday night. Anyway, I remember I was picking my girlfriend up from work, and I saw on Twitter, all over Twitter, the picture of Costa Coffee, John Sheridan sitting in there. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. We're gonna get fucked. We're gonna get royally shafted now. They took him. We put a complaint in. Anybody hear anything on that complaint? I didn't. I don't know. Anyway, pushing on. 2-0 down. Oh, well, obviously we lost to Blackburn 2-1. I mean, they were down to 10 men. They pinched her at the end. Like I say, quality. Bowden missed a sitter, which was a regular thing for him in the end. Missing sitters. He missed a sitter away at Barnet as well. But 2-2 was the next score at home to Dagenham and Redbridge. And this is when I realised, yes, we do still have fight in this team. We really do have fight in this team, because we were 2-0 down and they were crap Dagenham. It's just we were so bad, But we pulled it back to 2-2 and we could have won it. Probably should have won it 3-2. And I say bad refs. I think we only had one penalty all season, and Medialito missed on the opening day. We didn't get another penalty, but we had so many good shots for them. Dagenham, we had about 3 of them for handball, and we didn't get one. Moving on to another dodgy penalty. Leyton Orient away. I didn't go. My girlfriend and her father and all that went. I'm quite certain Leyton Orient away. I was up in Wolverhampton on a work course, and we lost 1-0. Dodgy penalty. It wasn't a penalty. We saw the replay. It wasn't a penalty, but they gave it anyway. When we lost that game, when that would have been another crucial point to add to the tally. But we came back strong, and we beat Morecambe. Yeah, that was a good result. And that sort of fired us on to basically beat a team that always beat us. I think that gave us a bit of belief, because the next few games we did great, all the way up until Barnet. Now, it was bang, 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 1-0 against Carlisle. We drew 1-1 at Exeter, who were doing really well, who played Liverpool only a few weeks beforehand. I saw all the Hillsborough stickers all over the away end. We then won at home to Mansfield. We were unlucky. We lost 2-0 to Crawley. No, we weren't unlucky. I remember now. We were shit. And this is where I was talking an awful lot about our bounce back ability. We lost 2-0 to Crawley, but then we won 1-0 at home to Wickham, who were doing well at the time. Then we lost 3-0 at home to Barnet. It's like, what is it with losing 3-0 at home anyway? Is this something that we were doing all the time? And it got on my wick, to be honest with you. But we allowed Portsmouth to feel what that felt like, because we beat them 3-0 at their ground. But, they got the last laugh because they're in a playoff place and we nearly went down. Anyway, moving on. Portsmouth 3-0 though. What a day. Yeah, that's another place we like going. So Wickham and Portsmouth. As much as I'm backing Portsmouth on my bets, if my bets go down, I would like to see Portsmouth stay down because, to be honest with you, with them and Wickham, we need the 6 points probably next season. We drew 0-0 at home to Hartlepool in a shite game of football. It was a shit, horrible game of football in shit weather. It was really cold that night, I remember. Tuesday night, rearranged game again. That's the same as the Barnet one was, rearranged games. Then, seven-side derby, we beat them 4-1, so no matter what, we were going to have the bragging rights, weren't we? Weren't we? No, they beat us 4-1. What's the odds on that? You know, us winning their 4-1 and then them coming to us and winning 4-1. You've got really good odds on that, but yep, we got battered, and fair play, that's when I thought they're going to go up this year, and they did. Bristol Rovers, really good team, kills me to say it, obviously. The other really good team we played on Good Friday. We went to Northampton, but in my opinion, we were by far the better team. You know, we did show, you know, what we are really capable of. But that did send us on a run then. Losing to Bristol Rovers knocked the stuffing out of us because we lost to Northampton. We then lost 2-0 at home to Accrington, which is one of the worst I've seen us play this season again. I mean, that's a recurring thing. Oh, that's the worst we played all season. You know, we've said that 5 or 6 times over, and we're at the end of March by that point. Warren Feeney, good record up until around about then. The reason why people are calling for his head are these results. So we got Bristol Rovers 4-1, Northampton 1-0, Accrington 2-0. Away at Yeovil we lost 1-0. We had no attacking threat whatsoever at Yeovil. It was crap. It really was crap. And this is the same when Cambridge came to town the following weekend. Nothing in attack at all. And I'm coming back, right, and I feel like a knob for saying it all the time. And picking him out. I'm not singling this guy out because he was our top scorer. You'd think that he was good in front of goal. A lot of his goals were tap-ins, and he missed so many good chances. He didn't make enough space for himself. But Scott Bowden was so frustrating because you knew he could score goals if he really, really dug in. You know, use his head a bit. His attacking awareness is really poor. Because I remember at Yeovil he slid in, or there was a point where he could have slid in and he didn't. And if he'd have slid in and just been on the end or just got that extra inch, he would have scored. You know, that was what was frustrating about Scott Bowden. I think he's got some good feet. He can use his feet with the ball, but you know, he's just got to get it up there, I think. Obviously, then we lost at Stevenage. We were shit. But we should have had a penalty at the end. You know, one of those games where we could have been crap but still got a point that we didn't deserve. We should have had a penalty at the end, and we should have been given that point. Well, at least the opportunity to score a penalty and gain that point. But a good point at home to Oxford. We weren't great that night. Oxford looked decent, but to be honest, the pitch was so shit by that point. You know, it was, we're never going to expect anything decent. But we got a draw, and I think that night we could have stayed up that night if we'd won, but we didn't. And I think York won and we drew and won, so they were back in with half a shout. Just meant in the last 3 games we needed 1 point. Luton, we got the draw. Koulibaly got the goal. Luton are a team we don't tend to do well against away, so to get a draw there was a good result in my opinion. But the good results at this point of the season were few and far between, to be honest. We came up against Notts County, who basically got a win against us on our own ground, yet either side of that they got battered, and they've been getting battered most weeks by this point, and they came to us and won. It just shows how bad we were at the end of the season. And we went to Wimbledon. Wimbledon for a playoff team didn't look that good, but I think we looked okay. As if, we may as well dig in for the last game, give them something of an effort. It's not like we're making the effort to come, travel all around the country watching you, is it? The least you could have done was given us a good performance. Well, you did give us a decent performance at least, I'll give you that. But 1-0 Wimbledon, yeah, okay, dodgy penalty again, we got a lot of decisions against us, to be honest with this season. We got a few injuries, and we got a few disappointments with loan players like Scott Bennett having to go back, Oliver McBurney having to go back, and then getting sent out elsewhere, Say, there were times during the season when we were really good. I mean, you look at Warren Feeney's record, and I'm quite sure he took over for the York game. I think that might have been his first one. So from that point, 1, 2, 3, I'm trying to count here and try not to come away from the camera. Um, he had a really good start, and people can say he coasted off of John Sheridan. I don't think he did, to be honest with you, because towards the end, John Sheridan's record wasn't great. I mean, you know, we lost to Notts County, we drew 2-2 with Wimbledon, we lost to Barnet, we lost to Plymouth. So he finished on a low, as far as I'm concerned, John Sheridan. Warren Feeney started on a high. So there was nothing really to coast off of from John Sheridan, although John Sheridan had got those players who couldn't play for Butcher playing for him. Warren Feeney took over, and I've mentioned this on a previous blog how I speak to James Collins, obviously the Newport-born Welsh defender who plays for West Ham. I speak to his brother every now and again, and he come back to me and say that he'd been sat with a bunch of people like Flinney, James, and a few others, basically singing Warren Feeney's praises, saying he's a really good coach. To be honest with you, at the point where we drew 0-0 with Hartlepool, it looked pretty certain that we were staying up. It looked certain, as if nothing's going to stop us now. To be honest with you, I think that was up in their heads, and a lot of them are looking for moves elsewhere at the end of the season. So I think they stopped playing for him. I don't think you can really put it all on Feeney. You've got to point the finger at them players and say, well, how come you can beat Pompey 3-0 away, but you lose 4-1 to Bristol Rovers at home, you lose to Notts County at home, you go down to Accrington 2-0 at home, but you can beat Portsmouth 3-0 away, you lose to Barnet 3-0 at home. I mean, I think the players have got a lot to answer for, to be honest with you, for the bad parts of the season. I mean, even at the beginning of the season, I mean, if they could play for John Sheridan, they were Terry Butcher's signings. Why didn't they play for him? To be honest with you, the tactics that we were playing, they're not so dissimilar, if I'm being honest. But maybe Terry Butcher's man management was not that good. Maybe he thought too much of himself and didn't associate himself on a personal level with the players, or what, I don't know. But I think these players are good players on their day. But what we have to understand is that we had a relegation team. Our team were a team of relegation players. Because at the end of the day, we nearly went down. So that's what you've got to call them, a relegation team. We finished 22nd and we didn't get relegated. Our record at the end of the season wasn't great. But we can't be expecting the earth from this team. So now, obviously, some have moved on. We're going to be bringing more in sooner rather than later, I hope. So, we finished the season on a low, no doubt about that. But don't feel downbeat about this team. And don't feel downbeat about our gaffer. Because in my opinion, I think there's more to come from Warren Feeney. And people say, oh, you haven't got no league experience. Neither did Justin. Eddie Hay didn't have any managerial experience at all before he took over at Bournemouth in League One. Gary Monk had absolutely no managerial experience at all before he did what he did with Swansea. I think they sacked him too quickly. I think they wouldn't have gone down anyway, with or without him. But it's like good young managers have got to get their chance. And what happens if these experts who were singing Feeney's praises are right, and he is as good a gaffer as they're saying, and he is going to bring in his own players, and he's going to get it right for us next year. Just keep a bit of faith in him, guys. Anyway, it's a bit of an overview, if anything, like a game by game, month by month overview of our season. It's been a long, horrible season, with very few good points. Obviously, an FA Cup third round and a couple of good away days, really. At home, it was hard work. I paid about £330 for my season ticket, and I can't recall overly many good memories from being in Rodney Parade this season. So I'm hoping that our home form will improve for next year, definitely. But I think next season, this is where we really got to judge Warren Feeney. And to be honest with you, you've got to put him on the same chopping block as Terry Butcher. 10 games in, if we're in a similar position, he's got to go. Simple as that. But I've got faith in him. I didn't have the faith in Terry Butcher. In here, I got the faith in Feeney. Didn't have it at all in Butcher. But tried to remain optimistic. But there we go. Anyway, 30 minutes of me boring you all to death. I do apologise for those of you who have made it all the way through. But thanks again for watching. I hope you all have not, well, unenjoyed it, if that's even a word. Basically, I hope that you've enjoyed the season in a roundabout way. Me, I haven't overly much, but you know, you can have it all. We've been spoilt as Newport County fans over the last 5 to 10 years, I think. So I think it's time that we accept when the bad times are coming in. As long as we've got the club in a healthy position and we're still in the Football League, that's all that matters really. So okay, see you all next season. Enjoy your summer, everybody, and I may do a Euros blog on Wales. I may follow you Wales in the Euros. So if that's something you guys would like, leave a little message down there and say go for it. Yeah, cheers. Up the County, guys, and come on Wales.